Every game has its metas nowadays. Modern Warfare having loadout metas, Valorant having agent metas, Halo Infinite having movement metas, and Siege having metas that make you want to stop playing the goddamn game. So let's talk about it. It's 2015 and R6 releases. At this point, nothing really crazy is going on with the game. The first season being Black Ice, with Frost and Buck as the first new operators to ever come out to Siege. Then goddammit, Operation Dustline comes out with some bullshit ass operators. Blackbeard and Valkyrie, aka the Navy SEAL meta. And oh my god, was this miserable. First off, let's talk about the elephant in the room, as it's probably the most obvious right now. Blackbeard. I feel like I don't have to say a lot. Yeah, his shield had, what, 1600 HP? Which, you know, the lifespan of 16 players in Siege. Like, do I have to say anything more? Like, how do you do this and then put it on his face? Like, I feel like that's it. Like, Blackbeard was actually horrific. A lot of people always forget that Valkyrie had 4 cameras. Not 3, 4. But also forget the fact that she could throw her cameras outside in prep phase, and not like new Siege, it would not get disabled, it would stay up the entire round. This would last quite a few seasons. Valkyrie was kind of meta for a while, but my god, the Navy SEAL meta was horrific. Had the best attacker in the game at this point, and the best defender in the game at this point as well. And right now, you're probably thinking to yourself, NFX, was next season any better? Hell no. Maybe not as bad, but goddamn, Skull Rain. The release of Godly Noob and Serenity 17. I mean Kavera, aka the spooky era. If you guys didn't know, Cav back then wasn't this bot-ass character we all know now. P.S. Go watch my Cav main video. Selfish plugin. She was actually terrifying. Not only do we not have operators like Jackal or Dokkaebi to counter her, this chick's pistol did 99 damage with no drop-off, and you get shot once by the pistol, you are actually 1 HP. Armor didn't even matter, by the way. No matter if you were 3 armor, it was always 1 HP. But yeah, this meta was wild. Luckily, for year 1, that pretty much wraps up all the metas, as the next few operators and seasons really weren't meta for anything. They were just good operators. Now this brings us to year 2 metas, being Operation Health, where there was no meta except for continuation of Spanish meta. So I guess that brings us to Operation Blood Orchid, aka the holy shit what the fuck is going on meta. You had Legion with invisible traps. You had Ying who would just flash you. And by the way, remember, there is no warden at this time. So you just got flashed and completely murdered. So that was a real fun experience. And the wild part is, Legion and Ying weren't the main part of this meta. Goddamn Ella. Ella Scorpion was broken. She also had 4 concussion mines, which were way worse back then. It was like Ashe, but on meth. But don't worry, next season, Operation White Noise wasn't any better, aka the new Ashe meta. Now, even though Dokkaebi was in this season, she was actually pretty trash at this point. Like, don't get me wrong, she wasn't horrible, but she really was underappreciated. The main star was Zofia, and my god, she replaced Ashe. She was 2-2 at this time, and had the best assault rifle in the game. She also had 4 concussions. Like why? Not 1, not 2, not even 3, but 4 concussions. She had 2 impacts and 4 concussions. Because I don't know who back in Ubisoft headquarters at this time decided to release a lot of these characters and how they didn't think of this being a problem. So pretty much this entire season consisted of Ella and Zofia, the sisters. But like Blackbeard, she got nerfed into the dirt over the years, turning her AR ass and movement speed garbage. But don't worry, Zofia meta will be back soon. But now it's time for year 3 metas. Oh, and you thought year 2 was bad? Nope. Nope. I wish. I wish it was. Starting off the entire year with the first season being Operation Chimera. And all I have to say is the word lion. Even though Blackbeard was BS, Lion actually broke the game. It broke Pro League, it broke Ranked, it broke casual play. I've never seen a character take over the game and make me want to stop playing. In fact, I don't think I actually played this season that much because of how unfun this character was. You also gotta take into consideration around this time, you guys couldn't ban operators. Otherwise, this man would have had a 100% ban rate. Lion's ability was essentially wall hacks. And yep, this was a real thing. I feel like I don't need to say anything else, so that's gonna lead us into the next operation being Operation Parabellum, aka Big Chonky Boy meta. At first, it wasn't that bad. Alibi was pretty shit, but Maestro, Maestro turned into a problem. His whole character was actually game-changing. His evil eyes were BS because you actually couldn't punch them, not even twitch drone them. The only way was to explode them. So if you didn't run grenades or Ash or Zofia, this man would pretty much stay alive. Even Thatcher EMPs would not work as much because if you threw an EMP grenade, all Maestro had to do was look up. And you couldn't shoot the evil eye. But the wild part is his ability wasn't even the worst part about this meta. It was literally his LMG. Yeah, his LMG on defense had the ACOG scope, which at this point of the game was pretty much godsend. So an LMG with no recoil plus ACOG on defense, and it still wasn't even the worst part about it. This man's hip fire was 100% accurate. So even if you caught Maestro with his pants down, he's probably going to kill you because his hip fire is still 100% accurate. Fortunately for Maestro, they nerfed him into the ground in good old-fashioned Ubisoft problem solving, leading us into Operation Grimsky, aka Fear the Bald Bitch. And honestly, at this point, it really wasn't deemed broken. It was not a crazy meta. Maverick was good. Clash was good. The reason why this turned into a toxic meta was because of the game-breaking glitch with Clash. She could shoot through her shield. I mean, that was legit it. Luckily around this time, banning was a thing, so that was cool. Leading us into probably one of the most balanced years we've ever had in Siege history. Starting off with Operation Burnt Horizon, there was no broken meta. We had Gridlock, and we had Mozzie. Mozzie didn't have the 1.5 scope at this time, which also, by the way, will be a future meta we talk about, but we'll save that for the future. Beautiful season. Honestly, amazing. Leading us into Operation Phantom Sight, aka why the fuck did they add these operators? Yeah, Warden at this time was deemed trash, and Nock also was pretty dog shit, I'm not gonna lie. We didn't really pick these characters, alright, at this time. So again, leads us into the next operation, being Operation Ember Rise. And there actually was a meta for this, and it had nothing to do with Amaru. It had something to do with Goyo, and one very specific thing that completely broke the game. Goyo had shields as Goyo canisters. 3 deployable shields with Goyo canisters. Yeah, I don't know why they thought this was a good thing, but this wasn't even the worst part about Operation Ember Rise. The worst part about Operation Ember Rise was their seasonal uniforms, aka that dude's invisible meta. Yeah, no. The Ember Rise uniforms look like this. Let's play a game of, can you find the enemy operator? Oh wait, you don't see him? Silo, can you quickly zoom in on, I don't even know what operator that is because of how invisible, but yep, that's why this uniform was crazy. It literally blends in with the whole map. And it wasn't just this map, it was many other maps. It was so bad that running Ember Rise uniforms would start a movement and pretty much would be banned in Pro League and any competitive event for the remainder of its life. Ember Rise would never be seen again. But yep, that pretty much wraps up year 4. There really wasn't much going on around this time. It was cool. Bringing us to the next year, being year 5 metas. Starting off with Operation Void Edge, aka Yana got a dumpy on her meta. I mean, god damn. Oryx was pretty goddamn useless. No one cared about Oryx, but Yana, meta for the wrong reasons because, you know, she was just thick and people are just kind of horn dogs. But she turned into pretty much the new goddamn frag operator. Besides having 2 assault rifles, she also had grenades, which brings me into a meta that started in Void Edge, aka I'm gonna nade the shit out of you below meta. Yep, nading below had to be the most diabolical thing, and it really started to pop off around Void Edge because Yana's pick rate was through the roof, so people started to realize how good nades were. That wraps up Void Edge, which leads us into Operation Steel Wave, aka I just pissed myself meta. Don't question my names for metas, okay? I'm going along in my head because this is how I felt in this moment with the introduction of Ace and Melusi. Now, Ace was pretty hyped up as, obviously, at this point, he pretty much replaced Thermite. If you guys didn't know, Ace used to blow up more than twice. It blew up 3 times, getting an entire wall, pretty much making Thermite obsolete. But even though Ace was crazy, Melusi was bullshit. All I'm gonna say is, one Melusi trap would lock down an entire room. Yeah, I mean, and she had 3 of those. So, yeah. And not to mention, you couldn't shoot Melusi traps like you can now. They didn't open up. You had to explode them. Oh, but don't worry, that wasn't the best thing about Melusi. She had the T5. The goddamn T5. Oh my god, was this the best SMG in the game. And they gave it to Melusi, who also had a C4. People forget Melusi had a C4, but she had C4s. So essentially, if you got stuck in a Melusi trap, you were probably getting C4'd from anywhere. You were cooked. Yeah, Steel Wave was not fun. Bringing us to Operation Neon Dawn, aka I Have More Bullets meta. Around this time, Zofia Assault Rifle got nerfed, Finka Assault Rifle got nerfed, and Fuse's pick rate increased. Simply because LMG meta was a thing. Zofia's LMG was finally sought after as probably one of the most broken weapons in the game at this time, so people abused it. Same with Finka. Finka and Zofia ruled ranked, and my god, was it horrendous. You would never play a game without seeing those two operators played. Leading us into year 7, introducing Demon Veil, aka I make walls whenever I want to meta. Yeah, no, Azami literally changed the game for the best, if not the worst. Yeah, no, Azami broke the game. She had no hard counters. You could not shoot her Azami barricades. Only thing that was really hard countering her was Flores and explosives. That's it. Other than that, you could punch it, but how are you going to get close enough if she's going to kill you? This meta was not fun. Azami just broke the game. But yep, Operation Demon Veil was pretty much just Azami. Which, again, not fun. Leading us into Operation Vector Glare. Sense. I'm gonna ignore this one and go to Operation Season 3, Brutal Swarm. Oh, it was Grim? Okay, I'm also gonna ignore this one because who gives a shit about Grim, and go to Year 7, Season 4, Operation Solar Raid, aka IQ on Meth. Solus single-handedly, with the assistance of Azami, ruined the game at this point. Siege was probably at its worst. Defense meta was disgusting. You had the greatest anchor in history and the greatest roamer. This was a nightmare. People nowadays experience Solus and understand she cannot use her gadget in prep phase. Back then, she could. And she could keep pinging and pinging and pinging where everybody was. And she had impact grenades. It was oh god, dude. She was trifling. So pretty much all of year 7 was Operation Defense meta because we introduced 2 horrible attackers but 2 insane defenders. So that pretty much wraps up year 7. Bringing us to year 8, closer to home. At this point, there was only one meta, and that meta was 1.5 meta, aka the TDM meta. And my god, this had to be the worst thing to ever happen to Siege, besides all of year 7. Because not only were we still in a defense meta, but 1.5 scopes ruled defense, including Warden, Mozzie, Goyo, Rook, Doc, Frost, even Capkin. Yeah, the amount of teams you would run into that would always consist of nothing but 1.5 scopes was horrendous. And it didn't even matter that Brava came out. Is she a great operator? Of course! Doesn't matter in TDM meta. It doesn't matter about being tactical. You're just getting swung. It was just meathead activity. That's all Commanding Force was. And it got worse with the next season, Operation Dread Factor, aka I can't see you, you can see me meta. Yeah, this introduced one more thing on top of the whole 1.5 meta, and that's trap meta. Not only did Ubisoft release Fenrir, but it just pretty much made all of defense horrendous. Year 7 with Azami and Solus, plus 1.5 meta, plus trap meta was garbage, leading us into Operation Deep Freeze, which did not make it better for us, because it was even more defense meta with Tubarão, aka Dr. Freeze. So not only did we get another defense operator with a 1.5 scope, he was a defense operator with another DMR, but another defense operator that could also counter hard breach gadgets. Year 7 to year 8 consisted of just nothing but no attackers. That's pretty much year 7 and year 8 brought to its knees. It's just defense meta. Leading us into what we know now, Operation Twin Shells. Pretty much bringing us up to date. This is definitely shields are broken as shit meta. Yeah, Ubisoft, this is probably the one season where Monty has 100% ban rate. Fix it. It's horrible. That's all this season's been. It's just Monty players. Just garbage Monty players. But yeah, that pretty much brings us up to date, which leads us into the end of the video. If I missed anything, comment down below. Also, I'm very curious to know what your favorite meta was. Yeah, so I guess comment that down below. I don't really care. It's time to cue the outro music. So, yeah, here's the outro. You got the gun, nigga, me too. Ready go what? Ready go, got ready go, blush you. Look, ready go, digging that, nigga, digging that back, that's ready go back down.